Happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome back to Thrive Thursdays. Today we have a treat. My good friend Melinda Johnston is visiting with us today about how to shop online safely. So while we are getting all set up here, I just need to check the feed real quick, make sure we're where we need to be. Say hello, drop below where you're tuning in from, and we will go ahead and get started. So the holiday season is upon us, right? It is Halloween today. Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you have some great plans for this evening. I know many of us are planning to do some serious online shopping, right? I've been getting all the emails. I don't know about you. And with that comes the need, of course, to be extra cautious about online safety. So today I am absolutely thrilled to introduce my good friend Melinda Johnston, an expert in online safety and digital security. Melinda is passionate about helping people, especially families and entrepreneurs, stay protected in the online world, which is especially important during the busy and often chaotic holiday season, right? We're grabbing the deals, we're putting our information in, and we're hoping the package is going to show up, and we just want to make sure we take a few extra steps. So she's going to be sharing her top tips on how to keep your personal and financial information safe while shopping online. So whether you're a frequent shopper online or just getting started, you won't want to miss this invaluable advice. So let's dive in. I'm going to invite Melinda up on stage here. Hey, Melinda.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Rebecca.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm so glad we made this work.
Yes, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really looking forward to sharing some tips with everyone.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to focus on technology, security, online safety, that sort of, because it is a much needed area of expertise and knowledge these days.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, my name's Melinda Johnston, and I have been working in the tech industry. I'm going to age myself a little bit. It's been about 25 years.
So you've seen it change.
Yeah, quite a big change. I think early in my career, I was supporting people trying to connect to America Online, if any of you remember that.
Yes.
Some of those younger kids understand.
The dial-up tone.
Yes. Yes, we've made some incredible advances, but of course with that has come a lot of, not as great stuff. So while I'm not part of the cybersecurity team at my current employer, they do an amazing job of ensuring that we are well versed in data breaches and phishing scams. And I recognize that that's not information that's very broadly known, right? Like a lot of people are out there getting scammed. So I like to just kind of get out here and share the information that I can so that we can all be a little bit more safe and aware of what's going out there in cyberland.
Absolutely. And I think scammers have gotten a bit savvier these days, right? Because they know
super sharp.
Yeah. They're not just the princes or such from
Nigeria.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, they're getting a lot more sophisticated, let's say.
Yes, not as many grammatical mistakes maybe in the in the emails.
AI is making it really hard for us to kind of distinguish some of that, right? Like, I don't want to get off on a different tangent, but like AI helps them with some of those grammar and spelling mistakes. So it's a little trickier. Yes.
AI is helpful in some ways and not so much in others.
Very true.
So from what you can see, what are some of the biggest risks that we face while we're shopping online, and what can we do about those risks?
Sure thing. So I think the most obvious risk is somebody gaining access to our credit card information. So a couple of tips for you around that really is to make sure you're shopping on websites that are reputable and secure. So if you see a deal that is too good to be true, it likely is.
Darn.
Um, especially if it's
Yeah.
from a site that you've never heard of, right? Like if you're browsing
Mm,
Walmart or Amazon, you're probably
right.
okay. But if
Right.
it's a site you've never heard of, definitely you might want to avoid that. And
Mhm.
before entering your details, do a quick check of the URL, the web address that you're at. Make
Mhm.
sure it says HTTPS at the front.
Okay.
That does mean that it's
Yeah.
secured, and there's less likely of your information kind of being caught by somebody in between.
So the
So
S on it, so the S on there does make a difference.
yes, the S means secure.
Secure. Okay, good. I never knew that.
Right, and a lot of people don't ever think to look at that either, right?
Right. Right. Okay.
And then one of the less obvious risks that is always kind of out there lurking around is a data breach, and that's just
Mhm.
basically where a hacker has gained access to your personal information through the company or a company that you've done business with. So
Mhm.
it's really important that you be mindful of the kind of data that you're sharing. So, of course,
Mhm.
your email, your phone number to get some freebie, that's not a big deal. But if somebody is asking you for any financial information like your bank account info or credit card number, or personal information like your social security number, or even asking you to log into a site that doesn't make sense, it's best to kind
Mhm.
of avoid that. And if
Mhm.
you're an entrepreneur that is selling things online, you want to take extra precautions to make sure that you're protecting the customer's data by
Mhm.
only collecting and storing what you absolutely need to complete your transaction.
Very important because I think a lot of people don't actually like clicking links,
Yeah,
even if it might be, I think there's a general sort of skepticism about clicking links in general that may even come from.
healthy. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because then, their email address or gets shared or sold, or and then all of a sudden you're getting all kinds of emails from, you know,
For instance, in Nigeria. Yeah.
yeah. Yes, those. Oh my goodness. And unfortunately, yeah, and there are a good number of people who aren't, aware that there aren't that many princes in Nigeria.
Yeah, right.
So let's see. What else could you tell us more? What are some common mistakes then that people make when trying to shop online, or when they try to protect their information and then it doesn't actually work?
Right. So I think one mistake people that make that may not be as obvious, but is very dangerous, is using the same password on multiple accounts.
Oh, but there's so many passwords, Melinda. Everything has a
I
password.
know, and I'm sure that we are all super guilty of this, but uh, there are a lot of passwords, but you do want to try to create a separate password for each account.
Hmm.
And like we said, let's be honest, we're all probably a bit guilty of this, but I have heard a horror story that
Oh
really
no.
kind of changed my perspective, right? So
Hmm.
there was an employee, it wasn't somebody that I worked with closely, but one of those stories that cybersecurity shared with us. She was traveling abroad and got an alert from her bank that there was
Hmm.
some suspicious activity.
Hmm.
And so she got online and found that somebody had hacked her account, right? Like they had accessed her account and a
Yeah.
bunch of money was gone. Unfortunately, she had used that account on, or that password on, a lot of other accounts. And it
Oh.
just made a real mess. And since she was traveling abroad, it really kind of caused her some problems, right? Because, of course, the bank wanted to cancel the card right away,
Oh
and
no.
it just and she wasn't home to be
She
able to make
wasn't
calls.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, can you even imagine? Like, it's bad enough when
Yeah.
it happens, period, but can you
Mhm.
imagine traveling somewhere else and just
Yeah.
being kind of, you're almost
Yeah.
stranded.
Yes.
If you're not traveling with family or friends or something, it can really be a problem. So that kind of gave me the little bit of a kick in the pants there. So please try to use different passwords. And yes, it is a lot for your brain to recall. So consider getting
Mhm.
yourself a good password manager. There are tools out there that can help. They store them securely for you, and you have one
Mhm.
password that you have to remember to get in there to access that thing that has all the other
All the
passwords.
other I was just going to ask you about that because, of course, I don't know how many users out there. I'm an iPhone user, and
Mhm.
of course, it has that fancy little function that it'll make its, the password manager will create a strong password and then save it and that kind of thing. Those are generally safe to use, and I held out on using that for a long, long time. Um,
Yeah, you definitely want to go with something reputable.
yeah.
Um, I use LastPass to keep track of my stuff. I think the ones in the phone are fine as
Hmm.
long as it's not tied to the device, right? Like as long as
Okay.
you could use it somewhere else, because what happens if your phone, if you break it or it gets pickpocketed or whatever, right? Like
Hmm.
if something
Right.
happens to the device and it's got all of your passwords in there,
That's true.
um, that
Yeah.
might be a little
And
bit concerning as
yeah.
well. But as long as it's got a password that is
Mhm.
required to get access to the other passwords, if that makes sense,
It
right? Like
does.
you
It
have
does.
one password that you remember and you just log into that and it says, oh yeah, your password for this. And it usually backfills that information for you even.
Mhm. Right.
Um,
And I
so
know a
that's
lot
the
of
only
the web
caution I
browsers.
have about the putting it on a phone is, you
Mhm.
know, make sure it's stored somewhere else too that you can get to with like a computer if you need to.
Right. That's true. And I think it does save to the cloud. I'm pretty sure I can access it.
Excellent. Yeah, most of them do, so you're probably fine.
Yeah. Or like the Google, I noticed the Google browser or Chrome likes to try to
Mhm.
remember my passwords too. Is that I don't necessarily like that option, but is that would that be secure as well? Because many of us, I think, are probably Chrome browser users.
Right, and I think even Edge does if you're using
That does
Microsoft.
too. Okay.
I don't have it save my passwords, but I
Yeah.
think there are like web browser extensions that are secure,
Okay.
especially if it's something that's provided to you by Google or Microsoft or one of the big
Mhm.
names. I
Okay.
wouldn't want to put in a extension on my browser that was from someplace I wasn't familiar with at all. So
Mhm.
stick with the known goods, right?
Yeah. That's true. You can't be too careful when it comes to your personal and
Yes,
financial information.
absolutely.
That is definitely for sure. Uh, so, top three tips then. So, online scams that have become more sophisticated, as we've discussed. What are some of the top tips you can give us for making purchases, navigating online stores? I think you mentioned stick with the known, right?
Right.
Don't if it sounds too good to be true. It probably
Be
is.
skeptical. Always gotta have a little bit of healthy skepticism. Yes.
Try to ask your kids. My new tactic is ask your kids because they
Right.
your grown kids might be a little bit more
That's fair. It's fair for a
yeah,
lot of us, right?
a little bit more savvy than I am. I'm like, Temu, is Temu okay?
Right. That's funny, but it's true, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
and there's a lot of cases where we probably wish, like our parents even, right? Like, thankfully,
Hmm.
my mother doesn't shop online, but I'd be very concerned for her getting into things, but yeah. So top 3 tips. Number 1 is stay vigilant with your accounts and devices to catch any issues early. So make sure you're going out there monitoring your accounts, watching for any kind of odd charges,
Hmm.
or any kind of weird notifications that you get. And if there is an option to enable a two-factor authentication for your accounts, I would definitely suggest doing that. And basically, what that does is when you go to log in, it's going to send you some sort of code to confirm that it's you. So sometimes it'll be a text message. Sometimes they want you to install like a authenticator application of some sort. But two-factor, if you have the option, definitely a good idea.
Okay.
Number 2, pay close attention to those sales emails that you were just mentioning. Read them closely for spelling or grammar errors. We did just talk about how AI is making that a little harder for us.
Right.
Look at the email address where it came from to ensure it is coming from the same company. Look for any like O's that have been replaced by zeros or anything odd, things like that. And be aware of, just be aware of where the link is taking you. If it takes you someplace that doesn't make sense, definitely get rid of it. I typically avoid clicking links in the emails, and I will just go directly to the company's website and log in there if there's something that I need to do. So, and that's true for text notifications too. Even some scammy, weird little texts come in every once in a while. So just because it's coming through in a text message doesn't necessarily mean it's safe.
Right.
And the third tip there is I would suggest not saving payment information in accounts if you are given the option. So I know it's inconvenient to have to manually type that credit card number in every time.
Right.
But if the company that you're doing business with does have a data breach, at least they're not going to have your payment information. So that's kind of the price you pay for the inconvenience, I guess, or the thing that you're saved by.
Yes, just in case. I mean, and we get data breach notifications. I think just for, larger companies, you get the letter in the mail, right? There was a data breach, and I was like, oh, which account was it? Which
every time you turn around.
Yeah, hackers are definitely getting a little bit smarter and savvier. So
yes,
awesome. These are some fantastic tips and some things that I hope that everyone will make use of and keep us all safe online during, not just during the holiday season, but all year round. And these are simple, practical tips just to sort of, weave into your online practices. So these are, I love all of these tips. You've written them, you've put them for us in a nice little document, I think, that we're going to drop the link down below so we can even print that out and put it up on our refrigerator, right?
So put it on the family portrait or whatever.
Exactly. So we're going to drop that link for you down below so you can grab that anytime. And any last words or last tips for holiday online shopping safety, Melinda, that you might have for us?
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you so much for mentioning the link. It is a fun little guide that it actually has tips for both the consumers as well as business owners for doing some things to protect your customers as well. So I'm just hoping that we can make a hacker's job as hard as possible. They won't, the tips aren't going to probably protect you 100%. I can tell you that my account still gets compromised. Every now and again, there's some weird charge and I've got to go get another credit card and it's annoying. But it should at least restore a little bit of your peace of mind. But I would love for you all to come join my group as well. It's Your Geeky BFF, and I provide a lot of tips, workshops, and challenges that help people grow their business online safely.
Safely, yes. And I'm glad that you incorporated the tips for entrepreneurs, because we also need to remember we want our customers and our clients to have faith in us that we're keeping their information safe. So we don't want to seem scammy to them either.
Yeah, it's really easy to kind of forget that. I've gotten caught up in some of that myself, and I need to go check my own processes, right?
Right.
Make sure, is my website secure? Am I, collecting data that makes sense to collect? Am I getting anything extra that I don't need? So yeah, I thought, a few tips for the entrepreneurs would be helpful as well. So
yes, thank you. Well, we appreciate your time, and I would love everyone to go and join Your Geeky BFF. Melinda does a great live training every week. I think you're in there, and on Monday nights, and you just did a whole series on Canva, I think.
Yes. Canva series, and I've done a series more recently on creating lead magnets. So if you're out there trying to build your audience organically and grow an email list, there's a great little challenge out there for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And a great step-by-step walkthrough, which is always helpful for those of us who are not as techie and tech savvy as you are. So you can walk us through it.
That's why I'm here. Yes.
Our geeky BFF.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Melinda, for joining us this Thrive Thursday. We hope to see you in the group, and we hope to see you in your group as well.
Yes, thank you so much again. I hope you all have a wonderful day today.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me again on this Thrive Thursday. I was in the city having Friday breakfast with a friend on Thursday because our Friday got rescheduled. So thank you again for joining me. Definitely click that link down below that we're going to share. Grab Melinda's top tips for staying safe online during this holiday shopping season, both for as a customer, as a consumer, and as an entrepreneur. Next week, we're going to hit a little bit more of that personal wellness, personal well-being, and my good friend Sarah is going to join us and talk about sugar. It's the holiday season. Today's Halloween. We're going to start talking about Thanksgiving pies and desserts. So next week we're going to talk all about sugar, the goods, the bads, and how you can keep yourself healthy during the holiday season. So I hope you join me next Thursday as well. Have a great day, and we will see you soon. Thank you.